Okay. Okay. Can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. I don't know where the gentleman is that's supposed to join us. Do you see a guy named Jeff anywhere?
No.
Okay, no problem. Well, it'll just be us then. We'll play it by ear. If you see him join, a guy named Jeff, then you can just, have him join us, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see him in the list. Just you and me so far.
Yeah.
Is it 10 o'clock?
It's 10:02.
Oh, you go ahead and start then.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. It is shortly after 10 o'clock, and I apologize for being a couple minutes late. Just wanted to make sure we get as many people in the waiting room as possible. If I can get a wave of hands that you can see my screen and that you can hear me, that's fantastic. I see a few of you already. Well, welcome to this month's Hour on the Market. We do have a lot to cover. Let me just see if I can. We do have hopefully a guest from Remax. We just don't know if he's on the call as of yet, but we are waiting to see if he does join. If he does, then I'll have Matthew have him join our meeting and have a conversation together. But in the meantime, what I will do is I'll jump into it because it's been a busy October and I have a lot to share with everybody. And what I'd like to do is start from the top. We do have the gentleman by name of Jeff Ross. He hopefully he does join us. We've been kind of playing a little bit of email tag and phone tag, so we sent him the link. Hopefully it's working for him. If there's any technical difficulties, then we'll have him come back on the call a little bit later. But I'm going to jump ahead and make sure that I respect everybody's time and we talk about what's really going on everywhere. So it's been a really busy month. There's been so much going on. There's been so much conversation about interest rates. Will we see a different, a secondary rate cut? Will we not see a rate cut? We will cover this. But what I do want to share first and foremost is what's been going on in the market. And I want to say that we did receive a rate cut this month because of what's been really going on in the economy, the reports and everything else. I want to jump into something that has been a tale of two marketplaces that we've been experiencing. That is the pre-con and condo market and the freehold market, and obviously the commercial market. There's three different markets there, but there's been 10 projects that have been canceled to date in 2025. That equals, over 2,500 units. It's not a small number, obviously. It's something that, the economists have been looking at, and it's been a record of 18 more projects that have been canceled as well. Now there's 20 more projects that are either been on hold or have been pivoted to some degree to purpose-built rental. As you can see here, what's really happening is there's been a complete slowdown in new construction. The incentives have not been there or the reasoning has not been there for the builders to really break ground and move forward. And what that's going to create is a lot of pain going down in the future. What I mean by that is eventually the condos that we have on the market in the pre-con industry will be absorbed. And as they're being absorbed, we're not going to have any new product going into the future. So having another 4,187 units that are currently on hold, for sales in receivership or completely canceled is not a pretty picture for the pre-con world. And I want to share that. That's something that, we need to keep our eyes set on. Supply of resale units in the market has reached 6 months. We've been hovering around 6 months now for about a full quarter, and we're well above the balance of 3 and 4 months right now. Resale prices, recently completed buildings in the past 3 years, now they're averaging close to $867 per square foot. That's basically a correction of 22% from the high of the Q1 of 2022. And the resale market conditions, obviously, their softest they are is in the 905 region. That's where we're seeing the most, softening. They've fallen by about 8.6% annually by this quarter, this Q3, compared to 6.1, percent annual decrease in the city of Toronto. So what I'm trying to say is that the areas around the Toronto, the 905 regions are having more of a challenge when it comes to the resale market for condominiums. But this is a real picture. We have seen more and more failed transactions in our pre-con division of our admin office. We've been tightly watching. We've had to make some demand letters to agents that are no longer with our company or to outside brokers. The great thing is that a lot of the brokerages are playing nice right now. We're all in the same boat. We're all trying to collect some of these pre-cons. The great news is Remax Ultimate and Remax Condos has not had the exposure of other brokerages that are out there because we have not really participated in the assignment market like some brokerages have. I don't want to name any brokerages, but there are a lot of downtown brokerages that have participated in this assignment market, and they're the ones seeing the most amount of failed transactions. We're probably hovering somewhere around 10 to 15% of failed transactions compared to close to 30% that is out in the other brokerages. So our teams that we've had in our office and our agents that have sold pre-con condos over the past 8 to 10 years, obviously I'm going back 8 to 10 years, but in the past 5 or 6 that are coming to delivery right now, a lot of these people have been investor based and not speculator based, and that's a very, very big difference. Now, let's talk about the interest rate cut. Last month, we had an interest rate, we had an interest rate cut 2 months ago. This month, I was a betting person that 85–90% chance we would not see a rate cut. But based on the reports, the unemployment numbers, the impact of the tariffs, the uncertainty that's created, globally, not just in Canada, the cost of food prices, the cost of living. This is not just a Toronto or Canadian phenomenon. This is a worldwide phenomenon. But obviously, our number one friend, our biggest friend and neighbor to the south has continued to create chaos, to our market. You're seeing a lot of reports of manufacturing, the big car industry is being, definitely affected. Sorry, I'm being a little bit tongue-tied here. All of these are contributing to an economy and an environment where the Bank of Canada is trying to get ahead of everything. So surprisingly enough, as the October weeks were going by, more and more I started to feel in my conversations with people that I know, both at CMHC or people in high-level banking positions, that there probably would be an interest rate cut, and it came to fruition. We have. Now, if you recall last month, I said that we probably need another 5 to 7% decrease in prices, we see the condo engine starting. But I believe that this interest rate cut has started that. The amount of interest that we've seen throughout October, the amount of showings we've seen in October, the amount of offer increases we've seen in October is a very, very promising sign. So I do believe that this interest rate cut is what we needed exactly to really have. I'm not going to say the market's going to start, the way we want it to start, but it's going to start, getting more and more transactions. You will see the numbers in November that Trump's going to report. I'm very optimistic and positive that, from what we've seen in our brokerage, that the numbers overall in the market will be better. Now, I do believe that we're going to continue to see an increased marketplace in December, even though it's a seasonal market in December, people looking at Christmas and the holidays and everything else. But, I'm going to tell you again, brace yourself for a negative January. And why am I saying to brace yourself for negative January is because we are going to still fall short overall as an MLS reporting than we did in 2024. So there will be less overall sales. You heard it here first. There'll be less overall sales in reported by TREB at the end of 2025, which will make for some negative news in the January, even though we're seeing a better September, October, and November. Now, I'm going to show you that, and I'm going to share with you that the inquiries, the showings, the offers that we have received throughout our brokerage have steadily increased. You can see that sold and leased properties have gone up by 20%. Showings have increased by 17%. Offers have increased by 26%. These are all numbers, and all regions have gone up by 13%. So, unfortunately, I'm looking at some average days on market before sold or leased. That has also increased by 14%. But the average showings before sold or leased has decreased by 1%. So we're seeing that there's definitely a stabilization in the marketplace. With this interest rate cut, we're also going to continue to see more and more activity going through into November. What do I see in the marketplace right now that I wanted to share with everybody that's very important? There's a few things that need to be discussed for housekeeping purposes, and that is what we're seeing and how agents from other brokerages and buyers and potential tenants are acting in the marketplace right now. So I have some very important points that I want to cover with everybody. And this is this. If an offer is accepted and a deposit is not provided, do we still have a deal? And I'm seeing some nodding, and that's the correct answer. Ding, ding, ding. We do still have a deal. An offer that's been provided, signed, sealed, and delivered with no deposit, all that means is that the transaction has a breach within the transaction, but it does not mean that the offer is null and void. If a deposit is not provided within 24 hours, it's irrelevant. As a matter of fact, you can have a buyer or a tenant show up on the day of closing with the deposit funds, and obviously it's a decision that the seller or the landlord has to make, but technically we do have a transaction, we do have a deal. So you have to be very careful. There's a lot of Facebook and chat groups out there that saying we don't have a deal, but in reality, we do have a deal. And to be able to proceed, you either have a choice. You accept the deposit or you get a mutual release. We have had a situation in our office several years ago where we received a call from a cooperating agent that the buyer is not going to proceed with the agreement. It was a multiple offer scenario. Our agent, in turn, with that phone call, believed that the deal was dead, proceeded to accept another offer. Several hours after that, a deposit was deposit was provided to us via wire transfer from the first offer into our trust account. Guess what happened? The property was sold twice. And RICO, in that case, we went to RICO, went to court. Luckily, the second offer got cold feet, decided to back out. The first offer got it after about 2 or 3 weeks, but a complaint was still filed by both parties. And our agent was found guilty for proceeding without the proper paperwork and the proper direction to make sure that they can, sell the property again, and that would be only by a mutual release. Now, RICO did say that if we had an email that provided us with the clear direction that they would not be coming forward, that would still find us at fault, but not liable for a fine. And anyways, my point in this whole story is that just because you did not receive an offer, a deposit on your agreement of purchase and sale, it does not mean that you do not have a valid transaction. It just means that you have a breach. Point number 2, conditional offer lapses. Can we proceed to accept another offer? I would say you can proceed to accept another offer as long as offer number 2 is conditional upon offer number 1 receiving a mutual release. Please do not proceed with accepting another offer. If there's no deposit or there is a deposit, you probably would call one of our leadership team group in our group and say, "Hey, Tim, we have this situation." But in reality, what you want to say is that even if there's no deposit provided, you want to make sure that you have a condition in offer number two for a mutual release from offer number one. The revival of offers past conditional due dates. Can we revive an offer that has been lapsed? And this is a tricky answer. And I'm going to give you two different approaches to this situation. These are things that are happening right now in our market, happening a lot in the last 4 weeks. A condition lapses, and the cooperating agent or our agent says, "Oh, it's okay. We'll just change the irrevocable of the amendment, and we'll prepare an amendment with a day earlier than the lapse." Please don't do that. That's not the way to do it. That's going to, cause a problem. The other thing that we're seeing is not a waiver, but we're seeing an amendment extending the conditions of the agreement of purchase and sale, but they're extending the condition, and they're providing the buyer, or they're providing the landlord or the seller with a date to accept the amendment after the expiry of the condition. Again, we got to be very, very careful. You cannot have that done at all. If you're going to extend with an amendment by deleting and reinserting any condition, it has to be within the conditional time period. But going back to revival of offers, somewhere about 12 or 15 years ago, Remax Ultimate created a revival agreement. So we have an agreement that we have in our server, in our hub, that you can locate and find. And if you can't find it, it's my pleasure to provide it to you. And it basically says that it's called a revival agreement. And it says that the buyer hereby acknowledges that there's an agreement of purchase and sale on this date with this expiry date. The seller hereby acknowledges with this date, this expiry date, and both parties agree that these are the conditions of the offer, and both parties agree that the conditions have lapsed, and both parties agree that they want to revive the agreement. So we have a revival agreement that you can use. It's not my preferred choice, but it's gone through legal counsel, and we can revive an agreement that's already been lapsed, as long as it's been lapsed for a day, not or two, not lapsed for a month. Please, please, please do not use a revival agreement for one that's lapsed for a month. The other way to do it, and the more correct way to do it, if you want to ask your broker of record, is to do an entirely new agreement of purchase and sale with today's date, with no conditions in it, a firm deal. And then what you would do is you would have the buyer and the seller execute that agreement in full. And then after the agreement of purchase and sale is signed, you would in turn provide both the buyer and the seller a mutual release on the first agreement. And in the payable section, you would place in the payable for the deposit, you would say payable to the new agreement of purchase and sale dated November the 4th. So what you're in essence doing is you're transferring the funds, the deposit funds, from the first transaction to the second transaction. And what we're doing in that case is, in our accounting system, now we have a legitimate paper trail, and we're able to show RICO or lawyers or court of law what happened. So one way is a revival agreement, which is legal and acceptable by us if everybody signs off on it. The other one would be if you would do a whole new agreement of purchase and sale, and then once it's signed by everybody and the trust is there that nobody's trying to get out of a transaction, then you would do a mutual release on the first one, and in the payable section, it would be payable to the new agreement of purchase and sale. Any questions on that? A lot of outside brokers and a lot of agents try to do an amendment, to revive an agreement, and it's not the correct way. I've argued with brokers on it. I've debated this over and over again. If you were to ask our in-house corporate counsel, Gary Wong or Mitch Corman, they will tell you that the advice I'm giving you is the right advice. Andre, you have a question.
Yes, thank you. So I'm doing this for almost 20 years. I've never once come across this until like a few weeks ago. You submit an offer and it's irrevocable till today at noon. And the other party does not respond, but it lapses. That irrevocable lapses. Now at 6 p.m., they counter with a new irrevocable. Through my time, I've always been taught that the deal has now been revived. It's alive again because they countered with a new irrevocable. But for the
Could you
first
repeat
time,
that? Could you go back through the steps again? You have one that lapses at 12 o'clock. Am
yeah.
I,
So I submit an offer to you. You're the listing agent, Tim. I'm the buyer's agent. I submit an offer that's irrevocable till noon. Now you don't respond until 6 p.m. tonight, which is past the irrevocable time. And you counter. So you counter with whatever, a new price, and also a new irrevocable. Did you do something that's valid there? Like, can
yes,
you do that? Sorry?
yes, yes. As a matter of fact, why can't a buyer make an offer to a seller? Why can't a seller make an offer to a buyer?
But it's the irrevocable time that I'm talking about, that I'm
You
referring
have
to.
it. So you have an offer that was made from the buyer to the seller.
Yes.
It expired. The
Yes.
irrevocable lapsed.
Yep.
So the seller decides, after looking at his options, talking to the family, that I want to make an offer to the buyer, in essence. That's all that's happening there.
So I thought the same thing, Tim, until the agent that was bringing me an offer said I have to redo the entire offer because the irrevocable lapsed. And she was so adamant about it that she goes, my broker of record, and this is Remax Hallmark.
Now, it doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean
Well,
anything. Company
it's not like it's not a discount brokerage. It's not like, mom and pop shop.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It, like, I've always made this comment, and I want to make it again, that a lot of a lot of what happens in our industry is agents talking to each other and not talking to their leadership, right? And not talking to a manager. And, most times a couple or a few agents, will ask the opinion or the guidance of a fellow colleague, which is not wrong. It's amazing. It's called collaboration. But certain legal aspects of a transaction should still go through the proper channels, in my
Okay.
humble opinion, right? In 1991, 1992, 1993, 1994, and 1995, I made a hell of a lot of offers from the owner to the buyers. I made a lot of offers that were submitted to me 1 day ago, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 4 days ago, 2 weeks later, you know, and prices were dropping, and sellers would in turn take that exact agreement of purchase and sale. All of the information is there. Think about what we're debating here. Okay, not just Andre, but everybody. It's an agreement of purchase and sale. The only difference on that agreement is who's making it to who. That's the only difference. So why would you retype an entire offer when all you're doing is saying buyer to seller?
I agree. It just that's why it boggled my mind, and I was like, she was so adamant. I was like, all right, do whatever you want. Submit a new offer to me. It's okay, whatever. Like, but it's her time that she was wasting. I was like, I don't agree. I've always done it this way. So you just confirmed it. So thank you.
Yeah, so before I go on, Jeff is joined our meeting. Jeff, I saw that you joined our meeting, but if you don't mind, we'll finish through this part first before we get to
Problem at all.
the Remax. All good. Okay. So I hope I was very clear with that. It's very important that you talk to a Nathan, a Matthew, a Larry, a Tim when it comes to those kind of things. But I also want to applaud you for not creating a pain point and insisting to do it this way. Let her, and just getting the deal done, right? You did the right thing. But in future, just give us a call and say, hey, this is what I'm going to get. Is it okay with you? Right?
Thank you.
But the biggest challenge that we're having though, is conditional offers lapsing and revival of offers and how to treat an agreement of purchase and sale that's been lapsed for quite some time. And in my humble opinion, the best rock solid way. Oh, let me give you another thing that we've been seeing a lot lately, and that is offers in the name of corporations. Okay? And there's two parts of this topic, and this topic also includes assignments, right? Because they're making it in the name of a corporation with the intent of assigning it, or they're making the name or they're making it there's an offer in the name of a buyer with the intent of assigning it to a corporation. So let me share something very clear. We do not, as listing agents, want to receive an offer in a numbered company corporation that has no assets. We need to ask the question of what this corporation is, how long it's been in business for. We have an obligation to our client to make sure that we investigate this. What we really want to see is we want to have a buyer's name on the offer. And if they want to have a clause to assign it to a corporation, we are okay with that as long as the clause in the offer does not have a release of the buyer. They have to be on the hook until closing. Okay? So what have we seen in these first 3 points and the corporation is we're seeing an offer in the name of a buyer, and then they come back and they do an amendment to add the corporation or to add another buyer to it. That is so legally wrong in so many ways, because there's been a ton of court cases and case law where a buyer has showed up on closing and said, I never saw the original offer and I'm not going to close. So now in this case, if you're ever adding a name to an offer, you always want to do a new agreement of purchase and sale, and you always want to do a mutual release on the original agreement, because the new buyer who's being added is actually signing every page of the offer. And this way you're capturing everybody. But folks, we have seen some transactions in the past month and a bit that has raised our antennas as a leadership group, where we're seeing corporations buying. And maybe it's a sign of the marketplace with prices being how they are, and investors or people coming into the market more, or looking at opportunities, trying to buy in corporations. We need to do our homework and make sure that those corporations do have assets, and there is a signing authority, and it is a signing authority of the person who is signing it too. Any questions on that? Okay, fantastic. Jeff, I think I'm going to hop ahead and I'm going to introduce you. We had you at the top of the hour, but it's all good.
Oh,
You,
I'm sorry. I must have.
no, it's all fantastic. You gave us the opportunity to go through some of our own things, right? And
Okay, fair
there was
enough.
a lively discussion, as you noticed. But everybody, we have Jeff here from Remax Canada, and he's an adoption specialist, and he's going to talk about all the things Remax today for us for a little while.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was asked to come in just for about 15 minutes or so and just sort of do a bit of an overview of some of the Remax tech tools that we offer.
Yep.
Are you okay if I share my screen,
Of
Kim?
course. Do you have capability to share your screen?
Let me just get Tracy if it's going to work here. So yeah, it looks like it will let me swap the share over to myself. So let me just
Fantastic.
open up my little PowerPoint slide that I have here. Is that coming through for everybody?
Not yet. All we see is the people so far.
Let me just try that again.
Yeah. Let's try again.
Great. Having some issues. Let me just try that one more time here, though.
No problem. We got your back.
How about now? Is that coming through?
Yep, it's come through.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for having me in today. I just wanted to kind of jump in and give you guys a bit of a quick overview of some of the tech tools that we offer. There's a lot of tools that a lot of people aren't aware of that we actually have access to. So wanted to kind of give you a bit of an overview today. For anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Jeff Ratz. I'm customer adoption consultant for RE/MAX of Canada. So essentially, I work closely with offices, just really help them make use of the different tech tools that we offer. Before we get too far into things, though, I do kind of quickly want to shout out our support team. If you have any questions, if you're running into any issues, our support team is always the first place you want to start with when you're kind of trying to figure some of those things out. So in the actual MaxTech powered by Bold Trail system, we do have a little chat bubble in the bottom right corner of that system when you have that open, where you can always click on that. You can ask questions, and those questions go directly to our RE/MAX support team. They work directly with you to address any issues, to answer any questions, and if they need to, they'll escalate it up to the Inside Real Estate support team, which is actually the company that builds our Bold Trail system. You can also reach out to our support team by email at customersupport@remax.com, or you can also call or text them if you have any questions or any issues. Really, if you're running into issues, you're probably not the only one having those issues, so we want you to report those to us so we can get any of those things sorted out as quickly as possible. All right, so that being said, I wanted to start by talking a little bit about remax.ca. So remax.ca, this is our national RE/MAX website where we actually display your listings, display you as agents. This is a website that's very, very well visited. We typically get around 3 to 4 million visits to this website per month. And this is where the vast majority of the leads that actually come in originate from. So we want to make sure that you guys are aware of this. This is where all of your listings are being posted. This is where you as agents are being displayed and marketed. And we want to make sure that you know how to set yourself up on this website so that you can get those leads that are coming in and so that you're putting your best foot forward when people find you on this website. This website is actually kind of split into multiple components. So we have our standard remax.ca website. We also have a luxury component to this website as well. So if you have any luxury type listings, any listings that basically meet or exceed the double the average of the prices in a given area will automatically be displayed on this RE/MAX luxury website. And you, again, as agents, will also be displayed on this website as well. So again, if you're in a given area, we basically look at what the average price is in a given area. So say the average price in Toronto is a certain amount. We basically double that average, and any listings that meet or exceed that doubled price is what we're going to be displaying on this RE/MAX luxury website. So just something to be aware of. If you happen to be a commercial agent as well, we do also have a commercial component to remax.ca as well, where as long as we're getting listings from your specific real estate board that are commercial type, we're going to be displaying those listings on this website as well. So just out of curiosity, any agents in the room here that are commercial agents?
Yeah, we have commercial agents and luxury agents here.
Yeah, commercial and luxury. So we kind of got you all covered for the whole suite of different websites that we have for remax.ca. I did kind of quickly want to touch on as well. We do have an international website as well, which is global.remax.com. So this global website, this is going to be a little bit different than remax.ca in that for remax.ca, we actually display both RE/MAX and non-RE/MAX listings for most of Canada. When we go to the global website, we're only going to be displaying actual RE/MAX listings. But this is going to be very similar to the remax.ca, where when we have leads coming in off this website, they're going to come into the RE/MAX system, they're going to go into the Bold Trail system, and they're going to go directly to the listing agent. One thing I do kind of want to touch on between remax.ca though and the global website. So when somebody lands on remax.ca, and actually let's just do a quick demo of this here. Let me jump out of PowerPoint temporarily. I wanted to show you on remax.ca, when somebody goes to remax.ca, when they're looking for listings in a given area. So let's quickly do that. So let's look for listings in Toronto in this case. So we go to Toronto. And you'll notice right off the bat, we do have some competitor listings right here. We have a Royal LePage listing right there. We have a Forest Hills Real Estate. And alongside all of those non-Remax listings, we are going to have our Remax listings as well. So let's just bring up this one right over here, this Remax Dash Realty as an example. So somebody lands on remax.ca, they're interested in a property, they're looking at the property on that website. If they have any questions about that property, we do have multiple different calls to action on the listing page. For anybody that wants to find out more information about the property, they can click either this contact an agent button. They can click this schedule a viewing if they have a specific time in mind where they want to actually view a property. And they also have this last button right down here just to request more information. And one thing you'll probably notice here when we're looking at this Remax listing, this particular listing actually shows that this is actually Savannah's listing. So in this case, if somebody lands on this listing on remax.ca, they send a request through, it's going to go directly through into the Bold Trail system. And this is going to get assigned over to Savannah being the listing agent. By comparison, if we were to happen to land on a non-Remax listing, so let's say we are looking at, let's go back to this one right here, this Royal LePage listing right here. So the listing page itself is going to look very, very similar. It's going to have the same calls to action. But the big thing you'll notice here is because this is a non-Remax listing, we don't have an agent to show on the listing page. And if somebody requests information on this particular property, that lead is going to come into the system and it's going to go through sort of a round robin rotation. It's going to get randomly offered to a specific office. And then within the office is going to get randomly assigned or offered to an agent within that office. So we do have leads coming in both on Remax listings and on non-Remax listings. And when they come in, they're going to be going always to an agent in the area or to the listing agent. And then it's going to go through that round robin rotation. So just like to kind of touch on that as to how we get those leads into the system and how they come to you as agents. The important thing I want to mention here is for us to connect your listings to you so you can get your leads off your own listings, we do have to make that connection in our Max Center system. So that's very, very important that we actually go and set that up so that you can be getting leads off of your own listings. So the next thing I wanted to show you here is I wanted to go into actual Max Center itself, and I want to show you where that process of connecting your listings is done. And I want to show you how to update and make sure your profile is fully complete. So that's the next thing we're going to be touching on right here. So let me jump out of PowerPoint again here. And let me close off a couple of these extra tabs that we have open in our browser here. And I'm going to go and actually sign into Max Center to show you where that's all done now. So we're going to start off in Max Center. So we have to go to www.remax.net to get to our Max Center sign-in page. And once we're signed in here, so basically just signing in, just use your remax.net email address as well as whatever password you might have for your account. If you are having issues getting into your account, we do also have our support team's phone number on this page. So you can always give them a call, send them a text message, or you can also email them if you're just having problems getting into your account. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to sign into my account. And once I'm signed in, we'll be brought to our Max Center dashboard, which really, this is sort of our portal to get to everything Remax. All the different tech tools that we have at your disposal are going to be available through your Max Center account. So you'll notice down here, if we scroll down a little bit, we have this section down here for all apps. And all of the apps we actually have access to, if you just click this button right here, it will show you a list of the different tools or apps that we can actually access. For right now, though, we're going to go into our profile so I can show you how to go and set that fully up. Because that profile we have in Max Center is what's going to be pushing out to all those different Remax websites. And it's going to push into a lot of other tools that we have as well, including the new marketing as a service, pushes into Max Engage. So really all the tools that we have, they're actually being fed from this one central profile that we have right here. So right up here, if I click on my name, click right here where it says update profile, this is where we can go in and we can make sure that that profile is fully set up in the system. One thing here though, I'm just wondering, would somebody be willing for me to quickly use their account to go and show what an agent looks like when in this versus what me as corporate staff sees? If somebody's okay with me doing that, just put your name or just kind of pipe up saying you're okay to use your account.
Are you good, Matthew? Or I'm not set up this way. Or Peter? Use Tim's. Yeah, use mine. Go ahead.
The only thing with that, Tim, is it is going to look a little bit different for
It
a
is gonna
broker.
look different. I know.
An
I
agent's
know.
going to see.
It's gonna look different. Maybe just use Andre. Andre on the screen. So we're gonna use Andre's.
Andre? Okay. All right, let me just quickly see if I can sign into Andre's account here. All right, yeah, so there's Andre right there. So basically I'm just going in to impersonate Andre's account so that we can see what it looks like when an actual agent signs in here. And you'll be able to see a lot of different options in here that myself as corporate staff wouldn't normally see because I'm not a selling agent. So I'm gonna quickly log in as Andre. So there's Andre's profile. And you'll notice right off the bat, there's quite a few more options on the left side of the page here that I didn't have access to previously. So in Andre's account, you can see sort of an overview of what he's set up in his account currently for different contact information. You can see Andre has a profile picture right here. You can see different phone numbers for Andre, any email addresses Andre has. The few things I want to kind of highlight while we're in here is I want to first off show you under contact info, right here is where you can actually find your remax.net address. And just so everybody is aware, that remax.net address is a working email address, but it's really just a forwarding address. So any emails that are sent to that address are going to get pushed along from this address right over to this ISP email address. So you want to make sure that this is a correct address for you so that we can pass along all those leads. And if you happen to be using that remax.net address on any business cards you have, you want to make sure that we're sending that to the correct address. We don't want this mistyped, or we don't want an old email address that you don't have access to anymore. You can also add things like any websites or any social media pages you use in your business, because we will display those for you on sites like remax.ca. And I want to highlight first off right here, the personal details. This is where you can put in any specialties you have as an agent. Right over here under personal details, you can actually write yourself a nice bio so that you can talk about yourself. And we're going to be pulling that through and displaying that for you on sites like remax.ca. And probably the most important part here is this one right here, this MLS affiliation. This is how we connect your listings. When people find those listings on remax.ca, those are going to be, those requests coming off those listings are going to be coming to you as agents. So if you want to come in here, make sure that we have right up here, this CREA DDF National Pool Feed. We want to make sure that we have a code added here. And if you have active listings with this code, it should actually show you how many listings it finds with that particular code. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to me after our little session here. My email address is jeffr@remax.ca, and I can go into a little bit more detail with you about that particular portion of the process. All right,
Yeah, I think
now we're getting short on time here. Let me just kind of move on here if that's okay. So the other few things I wanted to kind of quickly touch on while we're in Max Center is I wanted to point everybody towards this learning and education. This actually links you into our learning management system, which we call Remax University. So if you want to learn more about any of the different tech tools that we have to offer, you can always log into this learning and education section to learn more about the different tech tools that we offer. And a lot of people aren't aware of this as well. You can actually even get certain designations through the Remax University system as well. So definitely take a bit of time, go and explore in there, because there's probably going to be a lot of things in there that you'll find that you weren't maybe aware of. Other thing I wanted to show you here while we're actually logged in is I wanted to quickly touch on something we have called the Remax URL shortener. I think this is one tool that really gets underutilized. Essentially what this is it actually uses, the back end of it is a system called Bitly. And what Bitly does is it allows you to take one URL and link it over to a different URL. So essentially, if you have a link to a document or maybe a link to a page on the internet that you want to get people to, you can generate a Remax branded URL that links over to that other URL. And I'll just do just a quick demo here. I know we're actually pretty much at time right now, but let me just show you how this works, because this is actually a really, really cool tool. And it's, I think, one of the things that is really, really underutilized. So let me just quickly go and find something to link to here. I'll just grab a random listing on remax.ca. So we have this link to this property on remax.ca. I'm going to use this for our demo, but it can be really pretty much any website link that you want. But let's just take this one right here. We're going to go into our URL shortener. And what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to tell it I want to create a new link. So I'm going to click right here where it says create link. I'm going to give this a name. So let's just kind of put in something relating to the actual address. So 680 Tartan, let's use that. Create that. So what you'll see right up here, it's created this new link here. I've given it a name of 680 Tartan, but that doesn't really relate to what the public would see for that link. So it shows right here the original link that we used. And you can see over here, it's created this shortened link. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit so everybody can see this. So it's created a Remax branded link. So the first part of this address is rem.ax. And then it's seemingly are a bunch of random characters after the slash, essentially. But what's really cool here is we can actually adjust this link. I'm going to say I want to change these random looking characters to 680 Tartan. So that's relating to the actual address of the property we're linking to. I can now save that. So the new link is rem.ax/680 Tartan. And this is now a link that's going to be much, much more friendly for somebody to go and click on versus maybe a link to a Google document or some sort of cloud document. And what you'll see here, if I click on this link, it's going to bring us right to that page that we were trying to get to on remax.ca. And what's really cool and powerful with this as well is if we go back over here, this actually will also generate QR codes for that link as well. So if we wanted to, we can actually generate a QR code. So it's generating it for us right now. And if I open that QR code, you'll be able to see once it comes up here that if anybody were to scan that QR code, and you can actually try it yourself, if you actually scan this QR code with your smartphone, it would then bring us right to that page on remax.ca. So with the QR code, it's really nice because you can print it off, you can post it at an open house as a way to get people over to your website to get more traffic to your actual website. And as a nice little side benefit to that as well, there are some analytics available with this tool as well. If I click the little ellipses right here, you can see there's a links and analytics section where after we share this link out or after we post this QR code, we can keep track of how many people are actually going in, scanning that QR code or visiting that link over time. So really, really cool little tool. Pretty simple, but it can be really powerful. A lot of the things that we put into a lot of our presentations are using this very tool right here. So apologies, I am a few minutes over. I know I went through that very quickly as well, so hopefully everybody gathered a little bit of information from that. If anybody has any questions after our session, please feel free to reach out to me directly, or you can also reach out to Nathan, and Nathan can put you in contact with me as well. So,
Jeff, I want to thank you very much. I think the biggest thing for us too is we want to start creating like the tips and tricks and how-tos, because the toolbox for Remax is so big and so vast. And, we're always trying to just, demonstrate just how much we have that can, in a market like this, like that we're going through right now, there's so much at our fingertips that we can literally log in and use and apply to our business to make a difference, right? And the Bold Trail, the one thing that we are guilty of as a brokerage, and I'm sure we're not the only brokerage, but I call it as it is the Bold Trail not logging in. Not logging into Bold Trail. That's the number one thing that we're getting a lot of people being removed because they're not logging into Bold Trail, right? And we're always re-adding them back in again. So
That-
we should
that's-
discuss, you know, maybe provide some type of tip sheet for them for the future as well.
Yeah, well, that's a big thing as well. We didn't get into Bold Trail much today, but Bold Trail is a really powerful tool as well. That's where your agent website is. That's where all of your leads are delivered to, and there's so many little tools in there that can be really useful for enhancing your business as well. So,
Yes. So we'll get to that next time for sure, but I want to thank you.
of course, yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me in. All right,
All right, thank you.
everybody, have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
So I'm gonna go back to my screen now again. If I could find it, right? Because I have share. Here we go. Can you see my screen? Yes? All right, so we got some brokerage news that I want to share with you. And one important brokerage news is the updating of our admin team and our admin staff. This is a very important conversation I want to have with everybody. As many of our RE/MAX Condo Plus agents have known, you know, and I've experienced, and you know, I still have PTSD, you know, from what has happened in the past, you know, with the transition from, you know, relocating to our Bayview office and having our the staff that was with our team either retire or move on over time. You know, we have hired an entire new team, trained them, stabilized, you know, very, you know, happy with how that's worked out at the end once we got through the pain. But, you know, in conversations, I want to share with you that this is not for any negative reason aside from conversation that we've had for quite some time. On October the 6th, you know, we hired a senior director of administration and accounting. Her name is Michelle Hood. She comes with over 30 years of experience. She comes from the RE/MAX background network, so she understands RE/MAX, she understands the Lone Wolf program and reporting of numbers and delivering of services within the RE/MAX brand. And Michelle started working side by side with Nikki as of October 21st. The plan has been for some time. Nikki and I discussed, you know, in months and years past about how long she'd be with the company and when she would probably be moving on. But, you know, we definitely saw that it was a conversation that we had to revisit and have. So as of October 21st, what happened was, you know, more and more, she was working collaboratively with Michelle as Michelle took over Nikki's role. So Nikki will be stepping back from RE/MAX Ultimate. She will be, you know, moving on to a different, you know, chapter of her life. But I want to acknowledge, you know, her to everybody who's on the call. There will be a memo going out to everybody, sharing, you know, what I'm sharing on this video, but sharing it in writing with everybody that, you know, as you know, next week or two, you know, go on, that Michelle is the new person and point of contact. Many of you probably have already had communication with her. She's, you know, she really is a great person and she's very responsive. You know, she's, you know, getting into the processes of what we need to get and move on with. But I want to just say thank you publicly to Nikki because she will be moving on. And, you know, I'm not sure how many of you will be able to connect with her. Obviously, she's still available through email and phone call and everything else. But, you know, over the next week, you know, or so, she will be transitioning away from the company. So we've built a friendship with her over 10 years. Again, I thank Nikki personally as the owner of the company, and we want to welcome Michelle Hood as being part of RE/MAX Ultimate Group of Companies and overseeing the entire accounting processes here and administration. The team has taken a liking to Michelle. They're working together at the Bayview office. I welcome any of you to come by and visit. You know, you will see that she has an office on site and she's very open door policy type of person. And yeah, anything that she can do to help, she's here to do. So I just wanted to make that, you know, put that out there for everybody to know. Moving on, obviously we've had our hour on the market today. Very important, please. Tomorrow is our FinTrack training. FinTrack is something that is rearing its ugly head. We talked about corporations earlier in our conversation. We've talked about the types of offers we're seeing. Please attend this virtual online webinar. It is something that we need to demonstrate when, not if, but when we get audited, it's very, very important for for everybody to do what they can to attend this. FinTrack does look at the attendance of the people who are attending meetings and events. We do share that, and it's important that you take the time. And I want to thank our FinTrack officer and Larry and Matthew for working hand in hand together. We are going to have next week a FinTracker training as well, because we want you to be using FinTracker. We audit many, many files as they come in to stay on the right side of this very draconian type of investigative work done by the government. But again, FinTrack is something that keeps me up at night, not because any of you have done anything wrong, you haven't, but they have a lot of onus on us to verify information, and you need to know how to carry yourself and how to present yourself. 7 days from now, we have our Bayview office meeting in person. It's your win, your loss, how to win business. Nothing more than that. It's a networking opportunity as well. And we like to have, we're doing our damnedest to get everybody into the offices, because RE/MAX is built on synergy. RE/MAX is built on the molecules rubbing together. And, being alone is not a good place to be. We're human beings, we're social creatures. And I guarantee you that by being in these office meetings, it's not a complaint session. It really is an opportunity for us to talk about how to win business and what's going on in the marketplace on a weekly basis. And there's always treats to be served. So if you're feeling a little bit of a need for a sugar rush and some coffee, we got you covered. The Ultimate Spark database training, November the 12th, that will be also online. We have our content day creation on November 13th at the Dundas office. Tristan will be there to record you and create some content for your social media. This is an investment that we're making in you. We're paying for this for you. Please do your best to attend. We want the online social environment to be positive and to put you in the right light, and and that you should be in. And this is a collaborative approach. So when we're creating something, it's okay to also mention RE/MAX Ultimate or RE/MAX Condos, because it actually pushes the pages and your promo pieces a lot better. As I mentioned earlier, FinTracker agent training, with Christian, Kaspari is on November the 13th. It's an online webinar. And then we have our Lakeshore meeting on November 17th. We have our Ultimate Coaching that's live on November 18th, and we have our Harbor Square, meeting, which is on November the 24th. I do want to also share with you here. I have it here. Where did I put it? Nathan. Yeah. So on November the 11th and November 25th, we're putting in the calendar business planning training, which will be on Zoom. That will be me hosting it. It will be an opportunity to start thinking about 2026 and how to prepare yourself for 2026. We're going to go through an hour and 15 minutes of evaluating your business and discussing the best, best practices for marketing in today's market and economy, and how to prepare yourself for a great fall, but more importantly, how to prepare yourself for a great 2026. Memos will be going out for that as well. And of course, last but not least, I do want to bring to your attention one of my favorite events, if not the favorite events of the year for Mary and I, and that is our holiday Christmas party. It's on December the 4th, the first Thursday of December is when we always hold it. It's for you and a +1. It's in our opinion, a first-class event. You're fed exceptionally well, so come hungry. There's definitely going to be music, and an open bar and an opportunity for you to be with your colleagues and really just celebrate the year that we've had together. I mean, things could have been a lot worse than they have been. Things are improving, but it's a chance for us to be together and celebrate and to start the holiday season on the right foot. And please do, when the invite does come out in the next few days, please do register. And love to have you as many people there as possible. We will have a DJ this year, and we have some other, neat things planned to make it a little bit different, a little bit more fun. But I also interviewed a band. It was too late for me to have it this year, but wow, I was so impressed at an event I went to last week. So next year we'll have this, hopefully we'll have this amazing band that will entertain us all night long. But with that, that's pretty much our meeting for today. If I can be of any service to you, please reach out to us, and we're here to answer all your questions. And something tells me in my bones that's going to be a good November and a great December and a great 2026. So I do believe that we're moving in the right direction, even though the condo market is not what we want to, really hear the news about. I'm a realist. I like to tell you what's really happening. But what I see in the condo market and the pre-condo market especially is tremendous opportunity. I see tremendous opportunity. We are at the bottom and things are starting to improve. We don't feel it, but I know it. I see the numbers. So in a year or 2 years from now, it'll be a completely different condo market, and we would have wished, our buyers would have wished they bought in 2025. That's what I'm going to leave you with today. Based on the cancellations and the on holds of condo development and what's not being built, I really believe this is a time for us to educate our buyers in the condo market and really see, what they're thinking and what they want to do, especially in this new interest rate environment. With that, I'll stop talking because it's 11:03 and I'm exactly an hour, and I want to thank you for being with me today. Have a great day, everybody.